out from my window. Sun's coming up like the day before.
I wanted to do something fun today. Over here is my vintage chaise that my mother had given me. I never really had a proper slipcover. I just kind of used a blanket and fabric. I recently changed out my curtains to these that I made with a laser print technique. When I had green and white curtains up, I had this beautiful fabric that was actually from IKEA that I loved. And I kind of made a makeshift cover for this cushion. I've never made a proper slip cover for this bench. So I'm gonna try to do that today. And I ordered some chunky merino wool. I wanna make a chunky knit blanket slip cover for this chaise. I'm gonna play up the blue color in the curtains. Never made a chunky knit anything. So this is the chunky knit, you know, the really chunky knit blankets that you've seen in boutique stores. And you'd use your hands to actually do the loop and the knitting. You don't use any needles. So I am gonna attempt to do that. There are really great tutorials online, and that sort of inspired me. It's just so beautiful. There are also different choices of materials you can use. There are vegan yarns that you can use for this. There's also something like a cotton tubing yarn that you can use. And I didn't like the look of any of those. I decided to go with pure merino wool. The yarn arrived yesterday, and you order by the pound. My total measurement for the chaise cushion is 20 inches by 48. I ordered 6 pounds of merino wool, and that is going to give you approximately a finished blanket that measures 35 by 60 inches. It came like this, and the company is called BeCozi, which is fitting. I will include the link to her Etsy shop if you guys are interested in her yarn. So it's pretty heavy. I guess it feels 6 pounds. I didn't want to use any scissors because I didn't want to cut anything by mistake. And oh, the color's beautiful. So the color that I ordered is called Icy Blue, and it's a very, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it's actually a very pale blue, which is what I wanted. There are some instructions that are included with the yarn, and one is to address the possible shedding problem that you'll have with your natural wool blanket. And that is just the nature of the fiber when you're dealing with a delicate natural fiber like that. So don't be frustrated if it starts to shed. So that's why you really want to go to a respectable vendor that can address these problems. And after I knit everything, I'm going to use a spray bottle and spray both sides of the finished blanket with cold water, and then place in the dryer on the lowest heat setting, anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. And that is supposed to decrease the amount of shedding. Okay, I'm actually back at my mom's house because there's a little bit more space to work with. But you're supposed to let the yarn acclimate to the room. Scooter's here today. I'm sure he's excited. Okay, so the directions are to gently unwind the wool from the inside out. So that's what I'm gonna do. Leave the wool to rest and spread fibers for 30 to 60 minutes. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Oh, you guys, I love the color. It is just so pretty. Oh my goodness, it's very soft to the touch. Look, your blue eyes, they match the yarn. Keep on going, 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 keep on going. Okay. Now, full disclosure, I tried to do the chunky arm knitting 3 times, and I did it 3 times because I got the rhythm of it. It's not difficult, but what to me was not consistent was how big my loops were becoming, because in the beginning they were consistently one size, and then as I was getting more and more into the blanket, the loops were getting smaller. And people were saying, oh, use your hand to gauge the size of your loops. But sometimes your hand is like this, and sometimes your hand is like this, and sometimes your hand is like this. So it was getting smaller and smaller. The very first thing to do to start is you're going to do a slip knot. And then you're going to go in. And you're going to make your first. Basically, you're making your first slip knot. Once you have your slip knot established, you're going to take your working yarn and bring it through that loop to create another loop the exact same size. And you'll be repeating the same action until you've created a yarn chain that is the same width as your sofa cushion. And that, in my case, is going to be about 22 inches, which is going to give me a little wiggle room on the left and on the right. Now that you've created your base chain, you're going to start doing the knitting. So you're going to move that one loop here, and then we're going to pull the yarn through the first loop here on top. So pull through here. And remember to use the 4-finger rule, because this is where I kind of got a little bit off. So that's feeling a little bit tight. So 4-finger rule is going to continue and make these loops consistent. So then you're going to pull your yarn into the next loop up. Okay. So pull your yarn into the top loop. And remember to double check your width. Okay? So 4 fingers, generous feeling. Okay, I'm liking it. And just continue down the chain. Again, if you can see, we're going to put it through this top loop here. We're going to thread this through the top loop. And so your chain should start to look like this. Okay? Got one more loop to go on this chain. And double checking that 4-finger rule. So now we're going to be doing the same thing but in reverse, and then we're just going to continue back, forth, back and forth. So this last loop, double checking my width. We're going to feed this through. Now we're going to go this direction. For these chunky knit blankets, they suggest it to be, the loops to be between 3 and 4 inches, but 4 inches seem too big for me. I don't want it to be that loose. So I didn't want the weave to be that loose. So again, 4. If you make a mistake, if you're not liking how big your loops are, all you have to do is start again, because it's not going to take that long to finish. Oh, I hope you're getting the hang of this by now. Now let's knit another row going in the opposite direction. Okay, it's time to turn on my favorite podcast and really get knitting. Okay, we're at the very, very end, so I want to show you how to finish off your blanket or slipcover, and let's do that right now. I'm getting excited. It really took me about 2.5 hours. I didn't go that fast. So you can do it easily. Listen to your podcast or watch a movie, and then you're done. So that's the fun thing about this craft. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we are at the end of our blanket slipcover. And this is how you're going to finish off the ends. So you're going to take two of your loops. You're going to take your left of your free end, working end, and you're going to wrap it through. Okay, and you're going to make one loop. You're going to take your next loop, and you're going to take your salvaged end and thread it through the two loops. Then you're going to take your second loop, put it together, and you're going to thread through your free yarn piece. Take this new loop and this loop together, and then you're going to thread this through to make another loop. Okay, so let's just do what I call a dry fit to see how we're doing and if we like what we're seeing. The chunky knit yarn, which is 100% merino wool, it's really high quality, and it already cost me a little over $160 with shipping. So I don't want to spend that much to cover the underside of a cushion that you'll never see. So I thought maybe I can buy a blanket, an inexpensive acrylic blanket, and repurpose that for the underside of this cushion, but that would cost another $25, $30. And I just didn't want to do that either. So I swung over to Joann Fabrics, and I found some low pile fleece. And I really like the way that it's not too furry. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of the velvet from far away. And the thing I like about dealing with the fleece is that I don't have to deal with any raw edges unraveling. I'm going to be cutting the fleece into the shape of this cushion, which is an odd oval. So overnight, while I was watching TV, I just took my light blue fleece and I did a running stitch and attached it to the bottom of this cushion. And you can absolutely skip this step if you feel like you don't really need to see the underside of the cushion ever. But for me, I wanted it to have a finished look. So the next step is to drape the chunky knit, and working from the underside, I'm going to see if I can use elastic, thread it through the loops of the knit, and see if that can create a removable cover. Okay, so my idea is to use, an inch or an inch and a quarter wide elastic. So happy about this flannel being almost a perfect match with the yarn. Okay. say that I'm weaving in my elastic probably every 2 loops, hoping that that will be enough. Okay, so far I've been weaving in the elastic every 2 loops or so, and I'll just continue around the entire blanket until we get to the end. And for right now, I'm not tightening up the elastic, even though I know we're gonna have to do that soon. I'm just keeping everything loose. So far this is what it's looking like. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same around here, just pulling the elastic so it's a little bit more snug. And we're getting around this other curve here of the cushion. So we want to make sure that we are pulling this nice and snugly. Okay. And here we go here. So here's the end of my elastic. It's still loose, so I'm just gonna go back. I'm gonna just tie this in a temporary knot because I wanna start pulling the elastic a little tighter. So that it's gonna cinch this together. It's nicely holding its shape to the cushion, kind of like a fitted sheet. Okay, so here is the end of the elastic. I'm gonna just tie it into a knot, maybe double knot it for safety. Okay. So that it's gonna be easy enough for me to take off. I'm just gonna snip off the excess. So now this feels really good, and I can easily slip it off and dry clean it if I need to. This is a perfect project for this time of year to bring in a little warmth and coziness to your little space. See you next time right here at Nutshell Living. I love having you here. Bye.